All right, that's it for today. I want you guys to read pages 45 through 60 and do the practice exercises in the back of your workbook, okay? Oh, and don't forget, you have a quiz next week. And they're gone. Oh, hey, do you have a minute? No, I just wanted to catch up with you, that's all. Take a seat. So, I was going through my grade book, and I noticed your last few quizzes were not the greatest. Yeah, well, looking through all of them, you've got maybe a C or D average going currently. I know it's just a beginner level college course, but I wanted to just touch base with you and see where your head was at. You're having trouble reading? Like domaji or... Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess we did speed through that chapter on kana, didn't we? Is that all that is? Just a trouble reading? No, I'm not trying to be nosy or anything. But if there's something impeding your ability to learn, I would hope that you'd feel comfortable enough with me to open up to me about it. Of course. Look, whatever happens between you and me will always stay that way. I promise. Now, come on, talk to me. What's going on? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Right. No, I get where you're coming from. So, you feel you're behind your classmates because it takes you longer to read, right? Well, how about this? Do you have some time right now? Yeah? Good. Because if you want, I can give you a quick refresher on the basics. Of course, I don't mind. I don't have another class until way later tonight, so you have my undivided attention. All right. So, to get started, let's open up to the chart in the front of your workbook. I'm going to start at the very beginning and speed up or slow down based on what feels most comfortable for you, okay? All right, so when learning Japanese, there are 4 writing systems you should be aware of. Hiragana and katakana, also called kana, which are similar to our alphabet. Kanji, which are like shorthand characters intended to add extra nuance and condense hiragana when creating a sentence. And lastly, romaji. Romaji is not really Japanese per se. It's merely writing Japanese with English letters, so that way they're more phonetic and identifiable for Western audiences. Now, kanji will be a much later lesson, but hiragana and katakana are crucial for understanding the language, especially since other countries use kanji as well. So when you're reading something, if you see hiragana and katakana sandwiching like these Chinese characters, you'll immediately know that what you're looking at is Japanese. Are you following me so far? Good. Okay, well, that's all well and good, but at a glance, how can one tell the difference between all these different characters? Well, there are a few key visual differences between the 3, excluding romaji. Kanji is more block-like, and what I mean is, if you squint your eyes when you're looking at a Chinese character, they're gonna look like little black squares. Go on, try it while looking at this sentence. See, it's pretty boxy, right? That's an easy way to remember. Like I mentioned earlier, kanji is shorthand. So sometimes when you're writing a sentence, let's say just in hiragana, it can get really long really fast. And like any language, there are shortcuts to make it faster so you can get your point across. So let's take a word like aruku, to walk. And instead of writing in hiragana aruku and write down 3 characters, you can use this kanji, aru, and add a hiragana ku at the end. Now with only these 2 characters, you still get the reading aruku, but it's a little bit faster, see? Kanji also have a wide range of meanings and readings, making it ideal for things like names. If you look at a Japanese person's name, you'll see that they write their names with kanji usually. Because each character has a deep meaning, you can mix and match and combine them to create a new meaning altogether. Like, you like manga, right? Okay, so in Bleach, the main character's name is Ichigo. So without even seeing the kanji, one might hear Ichigo and think, oh, they're saying strawberry, because that's what you would call it. But if you look at the kanji the author has used for his name, you see that he uses the kanji for one and protector. So by mixing and matching these kanji, he can change the meaning of the name. So even though audibly it sounds like he's saying strawberry, in its written form it has a lot more nuance. Let's not get too deep down the rabbit hole here. Now for hiragana and katakana. Hiragana is widely used for pretty much everything when kanji doesn't suffice. It is quite literally the alphabet. So if you don't know how to pronounce something just looking at the kanji, sometimes you'll see just off above it in small little print, hiragana, meant to act as a pronunciation guide. You're right. That's in a lot of manga as well, especially shoujo and shonen manga. So those tiny little hiragana characters above the kanji are called furigana. Furigana. There are 46 hiragana characters in total, and there are 46 katakana characters, effectively making the Japanese alphabet 92 characters long. And even though that sounds like a lot and excludes kanji, it's actually not that bad. Phonetically, hiragana and katakana are virtually identical. Ka in hiragana will still be pronounced ka in katakana. It's literally a 1-to-1 ratio. The best way I can think to describe the relationship between these 2 sets of characters is by saying that hiragana and katakana are like how we have uppercase and lowercase letters in English. We recognize the letter A whether it's capitalized or lowercase. It's not too different in Japanese. Now, of course, I'm only talking about the relationship between the 2, not their usage. As for visually being able to distinguish between them, that's actually pretty easy. Hiragana is more rounded and curly, lots of loop-de-loops and twirls. Some might say that it feels more feminine, strictly just on an aesthetic level. Katakana is more angular, sharp, and hard-looking. It probably intuitively feels more masculine and cool. I didn't talk about the usage of katakana yet, but it's mostly used for loan words and foreign names. Pretty much any words that weren't originally part of the Japanese language, but were integrated later on. Case in point, in Japanese history up until the Meiji period, Western clothing was still new and foreign to many people. Kimonos and varieties of that were still common, and when Western customs started to slowly get ingratiated into Japanese society, Western words were also adapted into Japanese to account for that. For example, the classic button-down shirt. Buttons were not common at all in Japan at that time, so at the start of the Meiji period when these garments became more popular, the word botan, was created to describe this foreign object. This would be written in katakana because it's not originally in the Japanese lexicon. Country names, foreign people's names, nouns in general, they can all be written in katakana. Right. Lots of attack names and main characters' names in anime use katakana or foreign words, don't they? Monkey D. Luffy and so on. I I couldn't begin to tell you why he's called Luffy. You would just have to read the manga for that. But you're right. His name would be written in katakana. Many of your classmates' names would also be written that way as well. Well, we're mostly talking about reading anyway. Speaking and pronunciation, that's a whole different game. But I suppose for today I've pumped you with enough information for right now. Of course, if you want to get better at any language, you're just going to have to practice and review as much as possible and stick to it. Was that helpful for you at all? Really? You're not just saying that, right? I'm glad. And hey, if I'm ever going too fast or you just want somebody to explain something to you like this, please don't hesitate to reach out. I have no problem making time for students who truly want to learn. All right. Well, I'd better get back to my office, but I'm glad what I said resonated with you. I'll see you around.